hardscape is done. My main idea is more or less we are going to use maybe 60 pots of plants on this scape. So let's start. So to plant, I usually grab 3 or 4 stems and push it hard to the soil. So right now I'm putting the last layer of color with the green.
Blood red, orange juice.
Blood red, HRA, orange juice, rotodifolia, and green are the most common. It's maybe it sometimes, for example, HRA gets really red. What the difference sometimes is the type of the leaf. HRA have the leaf more pointy, blood red have the leaf a bit more large, but with intense light, with nutrient limitation, sometimes we can differentiate the color of one and another. Maybe this one a bit more darker, more blood, but depends much. The color of the plants depends a lot of the light, the intensity of the light, and the nutrition of the tank. I have almost the same light. I don't have a preference. I like this type of LED, so WRGB with the possibility of changing some settings. So this LED, have, I think, at least 4 LEDs inside each unit. So you have the red, the blue, and the green, and the one white. And this is why you can change the color of the light itself. But I find that this one is the most efficient. So if you want power, you have power. If you want a bit more red, you can force it a bit more red. So, but usually I don't play too much with these settings, because plants with the regular settings grow well. It's more a matter of par reading. So imagine if you have very high par, the plants will look with the extreme colors. If you manage to, nowadays all the lights can put this, but imagine if you have 150 to 200 par in here, I know these plants will have extremely colors. In the bottom, usually I have 80 till 100 par. We need just to understand how it works and play with it. In my home, I have Life Aqua, and I have some twin stars, but all work. It's a matter of the product and start working, making some experience with it. So the back is almost planted. It's very dense. What is important here is that the water can flow very well in this tank. That I don't see any problem. Sometimes when we do some big hardscapes, flow is a problem in the tanks, and we need to put extra pumps or another filter to make sure the water flows everywhere. And this is very open, so not a problem.
Do you get any algae or bacteria in the soil?
This power stand has it already, I think. In the beginning, it's normal to appear some algae, but if we continue doing the water changes, I will say maybe in the first month and a half, it's normal. Some filamentous algae, some cyano in the sand, because the tank is maturing, so it's quite normal. The secret to bypass this is water changing and keep things running. Do not make so many changes at the same time. Patience is the key. After 2 months, the tank will stabilize and things will start running smoothly. CO2 is, I always use a lot of CO2. My drop checker at the end of the day is always lime, yellow. I prefer, since the day one, I noticed that plants adapt much faster if we force it with a lot of CO2. Is one of the things I use a lot.
Is it green before the light shows?
Sometimes yes. It can even turn blue during the night. But I shut off 1 hour before the lights, and I start the CO2 maybe 2 hours before the lights turn on. But sometimes it stays green even during all the night. I noticed when I am using reactors that I have the blue in the beginning, because the CO2 dissolves much faster with reactors. But I just use reactors in the big tanks, in the smaller ones, and I just use it because I don't like to see too much CO2 bubbles. But usually in the normal tanks, in the beginning of the photo period, it's already green, but during the night it stays green, never goes blue. and the end it will be yellow. Now we have here Bolvitish Odotoli. It's the bigger one. In this layout, I don't want to have too many reflections, but this one is very nice, so I will put more this side. I will go to the front. Usually this type of epiphytes, I just stick it in the hardscape. If needed, I glue it, but sometimes it's not needed because it will hold there. Bolvitish usually takes too much time to adapt to the tank, very slow grow, but after adapting it grows quite well. And it's a plant that for me at least, gives always the sense of water. I don't know why, but maybe with the shape of the leaf always give me that sense. So I will now put the plants on the corners. So I will conjugate the Bolvitis with some stem. This type is Microsorum trident. It has a trident shape, so it's more thin than the Bolvitis, and each leaf separates from tree. So I always like to see both together. Since I have the green in the corners, it will look nice to have some green to support it. Different types of green. So this will be more dark. This will be a bit more brighter than this, but the green will be even more brighter than this one. So we have 3 types of green in the same spot. The stems is the same. I just stick it in the places I want, and sometimes I forget that they exist. When they are in the shade areas, they will grow very, very slowly, but they will still stay. They adapt to the extreme conditions. Here we have 2 options. You can glue some Monte Carlo in here. Monte Carlo is a plant that always gives me a nice wet feeling because it grows down. It will fill the hardscape and falling apart. So it's a nice addition I always like. And it's a plant that works very well as a epiphyte. So even out of soil, it grows very well. So we will put some in here, mix it with some mosses. In the green aqua tank that I did, I put some Monte Carlo above the rocks, and they let it grow like crazy. So right now it's just Monte Carlo because it grows very well out of soil. So like I told before, and to glue the plants, I always like to use gel fluid, because I noticed that when we put with liquid one, because it spread too much, the plants burn and have difficulties to grow. So I will put in this place. Of course, this will give some work to maintain, but I like it. Just put a portion of glue, and then I'll do the same here. I will plant some here in the sand too.
You have any rules for planting or just filling the gaps you feel?
Yeah, just spotting where I like to see green, not properly rules. The rules, we just need to take consideration that the demands of the plant in terms of light. So don't make any sense. I put some rotalas in here, but I know that there is no light. So in shade areas, we need to put some epiphytes like anubias, some ferns, plants that grow slowly, and we will handle well the low light ambient. More intense, like carpeting plants, need to have plenty of light. So we just need to put where the light is. This plant will spread fast, demands a bit more maintenance cutting, but it's really easy to maintain. So Monte Carlo, after adapting, sometimes I have problems while it adapts to the underwater. It's not uncommon that the plant melts at this stage, but after adapting, it grows very well. For example, here in this zone, to make more depths, we can use Monte Carlo in the front. Monte Carlo works very well with the Cuba, Mantius Cuba, because the shape of the leaf is the same, but Cuba is much more smaller. So you can use Monte Carlo in the front and Cuba in the back to create more depth to the eye. It's a good option to conjugate both. Cuba is here. Cuba works like Monte Carlo. It grows very well out of soil too. So I will push it in here to fill these gaps on the more distant part of the tank. Cuba will use it just on the back of the tank because of the smaller leaf, okay, more in the central zone because we have Monte Carlo in the other way. Heliocharis, in this case the mini version. It's a plant that can grow almost everywhere, spreads too fast. I like to mix it with the carpenting plants, mixing with Monte Carlo in that zone. In this sand I have the soil in the bottom, so the plants will grow very well. I'll put in here to give some details on this dark zone. I always like to mix Heliocharis with another plant that is Cryptoparva. Because the tones of the green are much similar, Parva a bit more dark, but since the Parva don't grow too much, and if you have mixed it, gives a nice touch. You have the more thin leaves, and then this more thicker. So I like to mix it. Parva, it's good to put on the darkest tones because it's a shade plant. Even without soil, it grows slowly, but it grows. We are putting some anubias and bucephalandras in the gaps to turn them more natural. Another plant I like to use in the sand is Marzilea. Here we have a very small one. It's a plant that grows very well in the sand, and it mixes very well with Monte Carlo because you'll grow a bit more taller than Monte Carlo, less compact, and makes a nice contrast between them. From here and from here.
Do you want them in the shade?
Yeah, but it's fine there too. So Anubias can grow everywhere. These plants will spread a lot in the sand areas. We need to take control of them, but it's fine. It's easy to control because we can push it and take whenever it goes. So if it's spreading too much, we take off some parts of it. Now, bucephalandras and anubias are versatile plants to use on these gaps. So whenever we need to disguise the hardscape, whenever we need to put some plants that we don't have soil or it, we can stick them there. Yeah, I choose the two types. One of more, this is the mini, the mango.
Nano.
Well, I think this is Nana. It's the leaf is a bit more wider, and the Pangolino is more pointy and more smaller one. So to have different species, it's always pleasant to the eye. In here, maybe in here, in this gap here, can put in here one. Bucephalandras have more. There are several species, but usually they have more darkened colors. They are brownish, they are reddish, they are more dark blue green. So point is the shape of the leaves very different. So there are 100 species of it probably, but it's a plant I like a lot to use because of that so versatile, so different. I like to use it a lot. In the end point I will put the flame moss like I told you. I just stick it in on soil. It can grow anywhere. It grows upwards, so I just stick in here and you will do the rest. When I don't have space on the back to plant some plants, I use this moss. Pinnatifida is a plant that can be glued to woods too, without any issue. Pinnatifida grows very fast and attach a lot to the hardscape. Sometimes it takes time to make the transition from this state to the submerged one, but after that it grows like crazy. I will put some Pinnatifida here because when you adapt, it grows down too. You will spread on all this area, so it will like to have some brownish colors here. So bucephalandras, I just stick them in the hardscape, hoping that they stay there. When I want to rush things, I go and pick plants from the other tanks because they are already adapted. They will grow much faster. But usually I start with new ones. For example, right now I am trying to fixing my one of my competition tanks, and I put plants that I gathered in the other because I don't have time to them to. But usually I start the planting with new ones. Bucephalandras are plants that are a bit sensitive, some species. So it's easier if you introduce it when a tank is stabilized. You will lose less. But for example, Rotalas, and you can start on day 0 because these grow always nice. But there are several. For Bucephalandras are the ones I have more more issues, more melting in the beginning. But even if they melt, if we keep the real rhizome, they will burn again. They will rise again. So if all the plant melts, but the rhizome is still intact, if you left there, sometime after, they will grow. There will appear new plants. This zone needs plants, some mixing with the Nubias and Pusuphalandras. I will put some Heliocharis here in the gravel because it will grow. It grows everywhere. It's like a weed. We just need to be careful to not hide too much the shadow zone. So we try to balance the planting. So if a plant is there, I always try to put it some in the other place too, somewhere. The size could be different, but I try always to have the presence of on both sides. We need to hide that wool. We have here Ricardia. It's good to hide all these wool spots. Ricardia is a very slow grow moss, but it have a very nice texture. I like to use it in the gaps of the wood because it grows so slowly. It's nice to have some green, some spots to break a bit the line, the wood. I think I will put the other Monte Carlo here because it followed it and will stay nice. Goes directly from here. When we mess around with the hardscape, all the dirt that is inside came out. So the dirt is in the soil and everywhere came out. So the tank usually suffer an imbalance, a big imbalance. So we need to reinforce a lot of the water changes in that stage. What I usually do, I empty the tank what I can because sometimes with the fish is not possible, and I work and then fill again. Next day, I do the same thing until I get the shape I want, and then maybe in the first week I do again water changes daily at this stage because there are a lot of dirt that come around. We are messing with soil and everything, but if we take care, it's possible to do. So the planting is done. I think the tank is finished.
Looks awesome. Thanks for.
I hope you have enjoyed and have learned something.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you here.
I breathe the world beneath the glass, where time slows down, it cannot pass. Green whispers rise through liquid skies, a quiet dance before my eyes. Dive deep into the painted blue, where every shade is born anew. Life flows like rivers, soft and free. A garden grows beneath the sea. Pebbles hum in their silent tune. Leaves sway beneath the silver moon. Bubbles rise like tiny stars, a hidden world that's never far. Dive deep into the painted blue, where every shade is born anew. Life flows like rivers, soft and free. A garden grows beneath the sea.